Cathy Schulman, it's so great to have you here for our last night. Throughout this festival, we're going to see this array of talented female filmmakers. And yet, that is what I find frustrating. It's like, well, what do we have to do to sit at the table?
I think in a certain way, we need to be myth busters. The notion that a woman can't direct a certain kind of a movie, or is too busy raising children to even direct a movie, or can't be a wife and a mother and a filmmaker at the same time, or can't understand or embrace a story that, you know, is action-oriented. There's a whole bunch of myths that have built up over time, and I think that all of us with voices, everybody working in the industry today, both in front and behind the camera, you know, needs to speak up and demand their media.
Here we have someone who's a child of a filmmaker. But The Virgin Suicides, for a debut film, I thought it's such a fully realized film. It has music, there's a voice behind this film. And one of the nights we showed international films, there was a filmmaker, Chantal Akerman, and as I was discovering Chantal Akerman, I said, this reminds me of a Sofia Coppola movie. And then when I was researching Sofia Coppola, you know, she was a fan of Chantal Akerman. So again, it's like that, those influences. And what I think about the film is it started a subculture of films about young girls, 13-year-old girls, disaffected.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, kind of a taboo subject. And another female filmmaker just a couple years later, Catherine Hardwicke, makes the fabulous film 13, which is another, you know, exploration of this sort of titillation of teenage girls, you know, which, by the way, is still thematic. I mean, frankly, Twilight is also about the titillation of young love and the desperation of being understood as you begin to fall in love. And it's a whole genre now, really, in terms of, you know, American filmmaking.
And also someone has a filmmaker that was influenced by fashion, that was influenced by music, that was influenced by foreign films. And she brings all of that from the minute of the film with the, you know, with the squiggly, with the writing, girly writing in the notebook. It's a signature film. And as I said, I feel as if from that film, we get a lot of other films. Juno, I thought, again, could fall into this genre of young girls that are attractive. They're not overtly sexual, but they are beautiful. I mean, there's images in the film. It just feels like a, you know, a summer day, lots of...
It really does. It's like she channeled that book, and anything, you know, one could imagine. It's as if she was able to put down everything that she imagined in a very specific way, you know, paint it, draw it, hear it, smell it, see it. I mean, the film, it's so sensory.
Yes.
You know, and you really get a sense of being inside this experience with these girls, this very strange family of girls.
And also, it had a certain throwback for me of a crazy film. I'm just going to throw it out there, Little Darlings with Matt Dillon and Tatum.
I think it's in that lexicon.
Yes.
You know, very much so.
Of the private lives of 13-year-olds, again, without ever getting campy or too dramatic, but lyrical, and the lyrical soundtrack is what I remember about the film.
Yeah, also sort of lending to a sense of nostalgia, you know, that I think is really all-consuming. It really is like, you know, walking into this sort of special Sofia Coppola snow globe, and, you know, there you are in this world, and she just captures your attention, you know, from start to finish.
That's so interesting. That's a great description of it, and it never gets, you know, it never gets, what we're watching is so dramatic, and yet you're lulled into this world, this very interesting world and family. And as you said, nothing is ever really explained. It's very dreamlike, but it's fascinating. It's a fascinating film, so we're going to watch it now. From 1999, here is the TCM premiere of Sofia Coppola's The Virgin Suicides. I like to think of Sofia Coppola like, you know, French New Wave West. Like, she is the West Coast edition, modern, because her films have their own, you know, vibe, but they do remind me of an interpretation of, it seems as if, you know, influences of European filmmakers with a West Coast.
I think that's true, this very sort of contemporary feel, but always with edge and with a sense of sort of artistic style that's of the moment. You know, she can make a period film and yet still the kind of creative currency she works with is so edgy, and now she's just really observational that way.
And she fits in with somebody like Wes Anderson, who worked with Bill Murray, and she works with Bill Murray.
Yeah.
And, you know, so much of what we've been talking about through this, we've been watching all these movies, and what I have thought again and again is, why are women removed from the conversation, from the history? If, you know, if again, like I'm talking about the work of Bill Murray, and yet somehow his work in Lost in Translation seems to get forgotten about. We talk about Bill Murray and his work with Wes Anderson, but we forget, you know, that it was really galvanized in Lost in Translation. And that's what I find again and again, the significant contributions of women filmmakers, not just because they're women filmmakers, but because they're great filmmakers.
Yeah, we have to be more responsible about our historical record keeping, and we have to take action as organizations and corporations that care to remember, to make sure that we continue to celebrate, rescreen, visit these films again, so much like this series has been doing all month. Remind ourselves of these fabulous contributions. I don't think there's some intentional reason why women are, let's say, specifically being cut out of history, but there's a lack of recognition and celebration. You know, each time a woman succeeds, it's as if it came out of nowhere, and like, oh my God, here's this gigantic exception. Let's notice it for a minute, and it becomes almost like a little pop of news, rather than another step in the ongoing history of female artists in the cinema realm. And I think that we need to really take charge of that.
And also for women to not feel that the statistics are so bad that they shouldn't even try to direct. And I think that that's a challenge that I face. It's, you know, you start to feel, well, who's going to fund this? And to not feel that your voice is important.
Well, you know, it falls to the older generations. You know, you and I have both been doing this for many years now, and I think it falls to us to caretake that torch and to make sure that we pave the way for women coming behind us, so that they don't shut the door before they even try to open it. And the only way to do that is to absolutely convert the bias into sustainable acceptability and gender neutrality. And if there was ever time to do it, it's now. I think that the world continues to celebrate diverse and alternative ways to live, and to create partnerships and families. And as part of that conversation, we should never forget how crucial it is that women are half the population, and that we need to be part of every conversation.
Yes. Well, thank you, Cathy Schulman, for joining us for our last night, wrapping up this amazing festival.
It's been a pleasure. Happy to be here.
Thank you. That wraps up our duties for this month's spotlight of amazing women trailblazers and directors. But there are 2 more movies in our lineup. Coming right up is the TCM premiere of Julie Taymor's Frida. Thanks.